man, I'm good. It's been a bit hectic, but we thank God.
Yeah.
You know, we're here. New studio. Well, it's not. Well, it's the same. No, new studio, isn't it? New
Yeah.
studio. We usually record at Outset. For those wondering, but this is like they've moved the location, so
Yep.
nice little setup. We can smell the fresh bricks.
Yeah, man.
So,
Fresh smell.
but yeah, hope everyone's well. Thank you guys for people that have been tuning in, listening to us. As always, before we start anything, please hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to get our traction, to get more people like subscribing to the podcast, the content. You know, that really means a lot. So we really appreciate that. Today, like I was saying to you, I wanted us to talk about, you know, this idea of like, I guess celebrating death. You
Yep.
know, as you know, the saying, as they say, don't speak ill of the dead. You know, but I always feel like, are there like certain exceptions to that? You know what I mean? Because obviously, like personally, I don't know. I wouldn't, you know, celebrate. Well, I say that loosely. I wouldn't celebrate anyone like passing away. But you know, sometimes, as we've seen, there's been people who have passed away, and people have been like rejoicing. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like for example, now I remember when, so Margaret Thatcher, when she passed away. I remember this clearly. So in Brixton, people had like were celebrating like and there was like a sign saying "Ding Dong,"
The witch is dead. Yeah.
and like I don't know. I just feel that's a bit mad.
Yeah. Nah. I don't know, man. It's just this, like, publicly as well. It's like,
Yeah, like,
people
the thing is, I feel like, you know, with certain things, yeah, you can be nonchalant to certain things, yeah, but to celebrate, I don't know. Me personally, I'm like, for example, like there might be people who weren't really, I would say, popular when they were alive. Maybe they've done stuff. Like, for example, case in point, yeah, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Come on, like I won't say people are celebrating, but if people it's mad 'cause I feel like I'm trying to tread carefully, but I also don't know how to kind of articulate it. But I feel like in the cases of people like Jimmy Savile,
Yeah.
what happened, his crimes was found out after he had passed. So I mean, like, so people, I won't say it's a case people were celebrating his death because it was, I think maybe not too long after he had passed when everything started to come
Come
out.
out at the end. Yeah.
And, you know, but I think it's safe to say no one's really going to miss him, which sounds mad to say, but do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not necessarily going to be, people are not going to be sad about that because, yo, like, it's abhorrent what he did, you know. And even like as of late, even I saw a lot of stuff about
Kevin Samuels.
yeah, Kevin Samuels, in it, and you know, and like I feel like something like that. I'm a bit indifferent. Not in like it doesn't really affect me because obviously I didn't know the guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think from a lot of people's, I think there were a lot of mixed reviews about his passing. Some even saying, "Oh, you know, we supposed to miss him," and everyone can feel how they feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we can police how people feel. But one thing that really rings to me is like how you. I know it's like a saying, or maybe I don't know if it's like a cliche, but the way you are on Earth, how you treat people, you know, it's a big thing. Like it's important.
Yeah, it's a reflection of who you are, you know.
Exactly, and it will determine, I guess, how you'll be remembered. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think those things, when I think of those things, even though like, as they say, don't speak ill of the dead, or you know, it's not right to celebrate. But one thing that stands out for me about all of that is, you know, how you are now. You know, it's important. You know, and I think I learned that quite early on, especially with my mum's passing, just with the lot of people, with the reception we received from people just, paying their respects, people just telling how like, wonderful she was, like, and that's. I mean, of course, it's nice to hear those things, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
And then you get people that didn't really say nice things about the person, but obviously
yeah,
they don't tend to come to your face and say it, or they would rather just pay their respects. Well, we all know some people didn't like someone,
and I think even with that though, because there's some people, they may not have liked someone whilst they were alive, and if they passed away, they're not necessarily they're keeping that same energy in the sense where, okay, I didn't like it, and they're not necessarily being horrible about it, but they're not going to go to their funeral because I didn't like they didn't like the person when they were alive, so nothing's kind of changed, So I kind of understand that, but I don't know. I always feel like it's a bit of a tricky one to navigate when you're. I feel like obviously, like talking about death is not a tricky part. Well, it can be, but I think it's just, this whole topic of, people who weren't liked and they passed away, and people rejoicing, and I said I go back to that phrase of never speak ill of the dead. But again, do you feel like there's exceptions to that though?
I think if you're someone that's gone through grief and you know that celebrating someone's death is wrong, I think you know that you wouldn't do it because obviously what you say.
It's like you're adhering to your principle. Like.
Yeah, it's like you're projecting certain things into your head. I mean, well, you're projecting things into your mind. So in a way, what you say is what you're gonna kind of bring back in a way, because obviously there's law of gravity, there's law of nature, and all those things. And obviously, when you go to the moon and you try to stand on it, you're not really gonna stand. You're just gonna keep up in the air because there's no gravity. So in a way, when you've gone through grief and you know that what you're saying is wrong, I think you wouldn't say it because you wouldn't wish it on your, on your friend when you go through that kind of experience. So I think people are still entitled to their own opinion, with what they think about someone.
Yeah, definitely. But do you feel like even at that, there should still be exceptions though? Because, some people, and again, I don't want to go into specific examples because, like I said, with the Jimmy Savile, like we don't even have to go into too much about, you know what I mean? Something like that is crazy, like, I don't know if we can say it's like it's crazy, like I said, safe to say, I don't think he'd be missed.
Yeah, no, really.
Well, not so much. Well, not so much by people who've been affected by what he did. His own family members. I don't know. We can't speak on that. But he's just going back to like whether or not, like, okay, maybe there are exceptions. Maybe is there ever is it ever justified to celebrate someone's
death?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I always like feel like, and I guess, with the whole Kevin Samuels, that it kind of makes you, well, not just that as well, but I think as that's been what's happened recently, it kind of makes you wonder and think, oh, right. Because I'll be honest, when I heard that, I was just like, oh, right, that's mad. Like, like almost like not shocked, but like I just didn't
expect it to happen.
Yeah, and I guess it's just that, and I guess, but one thing I feel like, is people always remember how you made them feel. That's that saying. People always remember. I think it's the same, but it's so true. People always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, that was the quote. Yeah.
Like, and this is why it goes back to, how you were, like, as a, as a person, how you treat people. Like, did you go around hurting people or causing harm? Because that, and what's crazy as well. Like, that might even bring about complicated grief.
What do you mean?
As in, like, so, for example, someone losing someone who done something, who hurt other people.
Yeah.
in different ways, and they've so that person who's hurt other people, they've caused so much havoc in other people's lives. They've passed away. So that person, so for example, let's just say that person who's done that, let's say they had a child who they left behind. So now that child is arguably left with that legacy of their parent who, okay, let me just use specific examples. Yeah, for example, let's just say a murderer now, it's a mass murderer. Yeah, who went about killing people, a cold-blooded mass murder, killing people like crazy. That, you know what I'm trying to say, and you know they got caught and they died in prison. So that mass murderer now has a child they left behind. So I'm saying it might be complicated for that child because they now have to learn as they've grown up, or their mum or their dad was a murderer. You know, like he's caused so much havoc in people's life. So it's gonna affect them, man. Because would they miss them? Other people are gonna, and you don't know what people are gonna do. Oh right, if they find out, that's so and so's child who murdered X amount, you don't know. So again, it's like it brings so much different chaos to that child. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and you don't, and never mind like what they're feeling mentally. How are they processing that? What are they thinking? Oh wow, people are saying that my dad did all these horrific crimes, but I'm not like that. But then like that child might have to spend their lives proving to people, oh, I'm nothing like this guy. Yes, biologically I'm related to him, but I don't even, I'm nowhere near what he's done, and that's it's unfair on the child who isn't like that, who is, because again the child wasn't asked to be brought into this world, and now that child might have to deal with a lot of people's trauma, and they have to deal with, I guess the consequences of what their dad did.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to OJ Simpson.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a People versus OJ documentary on BBC. Yeah. So I think there was a point where people thought that OJ murdered, his wife, and there were people that didn't believe it. So they saw a different OJ, or sometimes people would paint a version of who he was based on just the way he treated people. So people would use previous evidence on like what he was like with his fans, or and obviously there was his family as well, so people had a different perception of him because he was famous. So in a way it kind of makes it a bit more difficult to what's the word, differentiate.
What you mean? As in, you mean the children? You mean the children?
Oh no, I meant his character. So you
can't
tell if someone's been genuine or if they're
like
lying or something.
But that's the thing. Even on that, like because that case was a high profile case, like worldwide, everyone know about that case, and even to this day, there's still a bit of speculation of did he do it, but we are not involved. We don't know him. We're not involved like that. But those kids, they like, I don't know, but they probably, I can imagine they probably want answers like, okay, like what happened to her? At the time, they're probably younger, so they're young. They don't understand what happened to her mom, but they're probably old now. They probably have a lot of questions like, did our dad actually kill our mum? And stuff like that. And whether it's true or not, but there's a lot of trauma there, and it's like sometimes as well, this is why like it must be so hard for the offspring of these horrific people who've murdered people, who commit all sorts of like mad crimes, where they've actually taken lives, and now that I'm trying to think of another example. Okay, for example, now, even like Pablo Escobar.
Yep.
Bro, like
he does some crazy stuff.
Like it's mad. Like even his I remember when so you've seen Narcos?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, so I remember the end bit where, so you know the end bit where he got caught.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were showing the real life pictures of actually when they caught him in it.
Yeah.
And then they had like different footages of like real life interview. I remember his mum made an interview saying, "My son was never like that. You know, it's not true what they're saying about my son. You know, but there can be other people thinking, actually, I don't know what you're talking about, but your son, like, you know, made us lose our family members. You know what I mean? There's people out there who are probably like, angry, like who are just upset, and even as mad as people, who want justice, because you know your son took a life, so and that's why like it's hard, yeah, because for those people who are like innocent people, you know, they have to live a life, and their lives are almost, I won't say they're ruined because I can't, every case is different, but their lives are undoubtedly has been changed because of the actions of their parent, you know what I mean, or you know what I'm trying to say. So it must be mad, like,
and it can even affect the whole community as well. You know, if you're not
exactly.
careful, because obviously a certain community will have a perception of him, that he was a bad guy. He didn't really treat people well. He murdered a lot of people, and you know, so yeah, I think people, even though we don't know him personally, but yeah, we can't tell. But with that comes overcomplicated grief with what
Exactly.
what he said. So.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's where, like, you know, it must be so hard. Like, and this is the thing, yeah. Although, like, I can't even imagine it, but can you imagine the amount of questions you just have? Like, why did that parent? Okay, I'm saying if I was, I'm looking at it from the point of view of, let's just say for hypothetically speaking, yeah, I'm a child of someone who was a mass murderer. Okay, that sounds mad in itself, but I'll be thinking like, why though? What was in your head to make you want to just like kill all these people, or like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why? And also on top of that, it's like are people gonna look at me different? Are people gonna, you know, if I'm going about my day to day and someone witness, oh, that's the child of, you know, someone who was convicted for killing, you know, they're gonna think, oh, is that the, like, are they gonna be like father, like son? Or do you know what I'm trying to say? And you just think to yourself, it disrupts your life, man. Because even if you're not a part, of course you're a good person. You don't want no parts. You've disowned your father. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, man.
I think Pablo Escobar had a son though.
Yeah. I think
Actually, he doesn't want to be associated with his dad because of the things that he done. So I think apparently, and I don't know if it's true or not, he's not allowed to come to the area.
Boy, that's no surprise, boy. I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
I don't know if it's true or not. I don't want to make any claims.
And that's the thing. Do you know what's so mad? Even touching on that, yeah. Like, because when I was watching Narcos, I kept thinking, the thing is, you know, when you watch these like shows about drug lords and like when it ends, yeah, i.e. prison or death, yeah, what's that family gonna do? You know what I'm trying to say? Because your Escobar committed so much madness, yeah. Like, they're gonna be people who are thinking, actually, nah, like this, okay, he's gone. Sorry's not gonna cut it. You've done a monstrosity. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And it's so nuts, man. Like, and that's what I'm saying. If you're in that life, people, are they thinking about okay, the well-being of the kids, or the aftermath of, you know, when you're no longer here, i.e. being in prison, or, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, so these things are like again, what you do will affect those around you.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, even if you don't have kids, like if I went out just doing crazy stuff, like hurting other people, it's gonna, and it's the cases, and I get caught, and the case is like a big headline news and whatnot. I've undoubtedly, you know, put my family's well-being at risk. So my sisters, my aunt, do you know what I mean? Anyone who's associated with me, they're like, okay, you know, that's mad. Like, that's so and so's, and that's the scary part, because you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know who wants to, like, you know, get revenge.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why like it's nuts, man. And I kind of do feel it for those who are in those positions where like, you know, they've lost a parent who has done some mad things, who's taken lives, and they're nowhere near anything like that. So they now have to deal. They have to live with that consequence. And the person who's did, okay, they've passed away, so they don't. They're dead, so they don't have to face any consequences. But whereas the offspring or the relatives, they have to live with that now. Do you know what I mean? And I can imagine it must be mad, like, to even deal with that. And I don't know. Yeah, it's mad, man.
Yeah, I think also even the things they've done with like money as well, it can affect their generation as well. So with the money that they've taken, it's basically stolen money.
Yeah.
So they earned it in a way that was illegal.
Yeah.
So
Like I think yeah, I think even with Escobar, like even I was watching, they said he had mad, like, crazy money, man. Like,
billions, yeah.
you know, but yeah, like that kind of grief, you know, it'll be mad, you know, it'll be mad having like and just having questions that you know you can't get answers to. That's what I can imagine. That's what it'll be so difficult. You know, just want to know why, and you know, but like with anything, you know, as we've always said numerous times, you have to make peace with something, innit? You know, you have to, you know, like, do you know what? Even with that, yeah, I guess you know what. I think there's no amount of conversation for life, for life, yeah, for taking a life, yeah, as in. But like, I feel like there would have to be something that, like, I don't know, like. I guess more just like from the point of view of the what am I saying? The point of view of like like, for example, now the whole Escobar thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say his son wants to, like, you know, I don't know, like somehow
Apply for a job or something.
no,
or...
not even apply for a job, but somehow like, okay, he's kind of on a level where, like, what my dad did was crazy. Yeah. How can I make up for that? It's hard to how can you make up for lost life? You know what I'm trying to say? How can you make up for that? If there's almost any, you know, no amount of money can bring back someone. There is no way, and that's why I feel like maybe this is a bit segueing a bit. But that's why I feel like taking a life, yeah, look, it's not. Nah, man, it's mad. Like, you know what I mean? You can't make up for that, you know.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, you know. It's like, what do you do with someone that's done a lot of bad things, but you have the same surname as them? It's like, how do you go about your life, you know, living with a legacy that they've left that has kind of caused a lot of, you know, destruction?
Yeah, man, that legacy is tough, man. It's tough, you know, and like, this is the thing, man. People might not even be thinking on that level of, as in the people who are the ones commit these atrocities, and not be thinking about the legacy they're leaving behind. What they are in a way, because your legacy, their legacies are they're murderers, but then how that legacy is affecting those that leave behind. That's the real thing. That's where the complications start.
Yeah.
You know, because, and even that, you know, some people might even feel like, you know, like it makes the mourning process, or it just makes like I said, it makes the grief harder, because you're thinking, wow, my dad did all this, or my mum did all that. Like, why? Like, I don't understand it. And it's like they might be mourning that person, but thinking, well, I shouldn't really be mourning, because they were horrible people. They were horrible.
Yeah.
You know, they took lives, and they affected people in so many different ways. Like, so I just feel like it's a bit mad, man. But I don't know, man. I think, yeah, complicated grief. I mean, even like I said, celebrating death.
Yeah, I think it's how you celebrate it that kind of matters more, you know. So I think, were they a good person? If you knew that they were a good person, then, you know, it'll be a different, you know, celebration. But if it's someone that done a lot of bad things, then I think some people might not really respect the person, so they'll probably go out and tweet things saying, "Oh, this guy was a this and that." So, I don't care. So
Yeah, like even with the like with the I think with these with when I hear of news of people who've passed away who were, let's just say, quite controversial, yeah, I'm always a bit nonchalant. So like it's like I don't I don't have any particular feelings towards the news, and I think that's more so just of a thing of like I've just been desensitized. But of course, like you know loss will bring out different emotions. Like if you heard someone, of course, it depends on the person. Like usually, I think there's usually like a disconnect with celebrities who might have passed. Because well, not all the time. It depends on the celebrity. It depends on what they did, who they were, that kind of stuff. So it just depends in it. But I just feel like, yeah, man, I can't even. I don't think personally I can have a straightforward answer and say, is it ever justified to celebrate someone passing? But like I said, one thing I can feel like maybe say is, like people who like, I don't know, I don't know.
I think a question I had was so if someone publicly says something online, would they say it to their family or friends?
Oh, what do you mean that?
Like if for example with just thinking of a celebrity or just someone. So if they were to if they publicly said like that they were celebrating someone, saying, "Oh, I'm glad he or she is gone," so they're not coming back again. Like, would they feel comfortable saying that to someone that they didn't like face to face, or would they
saying it to
behind the
like
screen?
saying it to like their to who the family members
Or if it's a close friend or someone they knew that was doing bad things, so they would rather say it on social media, but not to their face in a way.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of things can be said on social media, but whether like in real life, it can be two different stories. Like someone can tweet, "Oh, are we supposed like I think someone said, are we supposed to be sad that he's dead?" Along those lines, but with the Kevin Samuels thing in it. But then, even with that, like I said, I don't like that's not someone expressing themselves. But would I personally say that? No, because I'm nonchalant. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't. Even if I was thinking, I don't know. I personally wouldn't say it. And I think that's not because I wasn't really like a mad fan of Kevin Samuels. Like, I don't, like I will see some of his stuff like here and there, like, but I don't know. I'm just okay. Well,
it's just another day,
Yeah, I don't mean that to sound crazy, like, or like, but I'm just indifferent. You know what I mean? And that's more or less like you're in a place of limbo where like there's no you're not feeling more towards like anger or more to like there's just in the middle. You're just indifferent. That's just what it is. But I don't know. But yeah, I think complicated grief is it's something that well I can't say it like for sure, but I can only imagine in it's a lot, man. Like, and it's a lot to process because there'll probably be so much questions depending on the nature of that person. If like I said what they did, and like, so I can only imagine like those people of those offsprings or relatives of famous people who have been notorious for killings or you know what I mean. So it's I don't know. I can imagine it's not that easy like for them to deal with that, man. But but one thing I'll never want to be in that position though. And I know they say never, but I mean it more so in terms of like, I'll be so like, my head will be scattered, man. Like, if my mum had passed away and I found that she was just, you know, like committing atrocities like that would, I'd be like, that the whole legacy is just tainted. It would be so, I would probably need so much therapy, because that alone to actually grasp, sorry, and make peace with you, nah, it's mad, you know.
Yeah, but I think at the same time we kind of people kind of need to be careful about what they say about the person, because obviously with obviously my mum and dad, a lot of people said a lot of good things about them,
Yeah.
and obviously some people didn't like them, so they would make a lie about something that wasn't true, because we knew that they were genuine people, because they were with us all the time, so they wouldn't, I don't think someone would go behind your back and say that, oh, he's into, I don't know, stealing money or, selling drugs or something. Like, people will say all these things for no reason, because they're trying to get some kind of reaction from you.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be a bit careful when they're treading,
Yeah, I think, one thing I realize, I think when when people are speaking of people in a bad way who've passed away, and not necessarily like okay, let's just say our parents, yeah. Like you said, someone said some things about your mum.
Probably that, dad, yeah. So, yeah.
Like as in it would offend you if someone said something that wasn't true, right? Because I think, because it's crazy for someone to say, oh, like so and so did this, and I think for me, I remember like a situation, I think someone like said something about my mum, like I can't remember what it was exactly, but they were just saying nice things, and even though I didn't know what it was, but instantly, yeah, I was just so triggered, like I was so like, nah, like what the hell, like who's saying things, like, because number one, yeah, my mum, like, she was a good woman, and number two, she didn't have to defend herself. So it's like, if you're speaking ill of the dead, of people who have no who are not known to be horrific, or wasn't known to be like to treat people badly whilst they were alive, I'm like, nah, who are you to be speaking about that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad, man. Like, I'd be fuming.
And I think there was another. I kind of wanted to talk about something else. And, with the Stephen Lawrence case.
Yeah.
See how he even though we weren't born, like, see how he got murdered in I think it was Eltham.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the community, I don't know who specifically, a lot of people were saying a lot of negative, like really proper bad things, like saying, oh, apparently he was into drugs, and he wasn't a good person. But obviously some other people didn't see him that way because of the life that he was living. But I think people back then had like certain stereotypes of what a black man is. And obviously I think I was reading something on The Guardian the other day, and it kind of shocked me. So I think people when it was his anniversary, people left flowers by the side of where he died, and I think something happened. Like, I think a car was coming, and they were shouting, "Oh, he's you can pluck this out if you want."
Yeah.
So they said, "Oh, he's a nigger," and I don't know, that kind of shocked me in a way, but I think I'm not really surprised about with what the people said, because they the community was a bit hostile in a way to like people that were immigrants, and obviously there was a lot of political like things going on.
Yeah.
in the area. So I think people still have this perception that Eltham is still associated with racism because
Yeah.
it's become synonymous with an area that has been that is racist because of what happened, and I think it must be hard on the parents as well and his brother as well, because they're probably thinking, why did someone like that go through that? And that's a different kind of grief, you know, because you don't know why someone murdered someone and they're going about their life. And
Yeah, like racially motivated attacks, racially motivated it's I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like even I remember hearing the Stephen Lawrence case. Obviously, I was young at the time, but I was like, "Yo, this is that." I think that was
wild,
probably
yeah.
one of the most high profile like cases for the longest time.
Yeah.
About and it's just crazy. Like the people. Yeah, they went to. I think that and Damian. Obviously, it wasn't racially motivated, but Damian Taylor as well.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
those two. And it's like when I was reading also, it was so like chilling, man. I'm like, what? Like, I don't get why people would do that. And obviously at the time I didn't really understand it fully, but now it's like, yo, like, can you imagine the amount of fighting the parents had to do
Yeah.
just for justice or to find like like mentally that it must have
It's
been
gonna
a
take
lot.
your soul away, boy.
Honestly, man.
Literally.
Even with Damian Taylor, like it's mad. Like people, I don't understand. Like it's crazy, man. But yeah. I mean, yeah. So like, if in like all in all, like to conclude, yeah. So like I said, I don't think I can definitively say like it's justified to celebrate.
People that done work, they caused a lot of
Yeah,
havoc. So yeah.
but I do understand people maybe somewhat feeling some sort of relief, who've been affected by that particular person who's committed such crimes and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So, I get that, but like I said, me personally, I think it'd be a tough one for those relatives and children of that said person, because especially if they know nothing like that, they don't have that kind of negative aura or that sinister like side of wanting to kill people. You know what I mean? It'll be hard for them because they have to live with that now that their parent or was someone who committed these crimes that resulted in the loss of all these lives. Like it's mad. Yeah, there's a lot of complicated grief, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, this was a short one today, but just like I said, I think I just wanted us to touch on that that topic of speaking ill of the dead and celebrating people in passing. But one thing I can say, like I said before, like yeah, it's hard. I can imagine it must be hard.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Like I feel like a lot of time I've been I can't even give a straight like a straight response, boy. Like it's a tough one, man. But yeah, I mean, anything like that people should know about? Any like last message before you wrap up?
Okay, one thing I'll probably say is whatever legacy you want to be remembered by, always treat people with respect and always do the right thing, even if it might seem like the wrong thing, but at the end, people will respect you for that decision you made. So don't speak ill of the dead as well. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think even just following up on that, I felt like what for me, like what I feel is important is how you make people feel.
Yeah.
So, and I feel that will also determine when we're no longer here. That will determine how people remember us as well, innit? So that's always important to just, you know, those around you, you know, like you said, treat them right. Like, you know, just make sure like have a positive impact.
Yeah.
You know, so because people always remember that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I know there's a bit of mad noise here. I don't know what's going on in this building, but sorry about that. But we appreciate you guys for listening, tuning in.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and make sure to click that subscribe button and share it with a family, with a friend, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And yep.
Definitely, man. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, and that's that.
Yep. Have a great weekend, everyone.